Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in today's podcast, we're going to be looking ahead on the games on the weekend. The big one, Liverpool versus Manchester United. And of course, we'll also feature Arsenal versus Brighton. Now, joining me this evening to preview these two matches and just talk some football, we have returning to the platform, Leon.
Nice to be back, viewers and subscribers.
Yes, we also have a man we haven't seen in a while, Carey.
Took a bit of a little break. Life was lifing, but we pulled through and we're here. So it's good to be back, viewers and subscribers.
Yes, indeed. And rounding off a full house, we have Sir Cole.
Good evening, everyone. Very glad to be back as usual.
Yes, indeed, gents. Welcome back to the podcast. And of course, we have some major games coming up on the weekend. But let's jump straight off by looking at Arsenal versus Brighton. Another big game, with some serious ramification, especially at the top end of the table. Brighton haven't lost in 5, even though they have been getting a few draws. And of course, Arsenal picking up 2 defeats in the last 6, but winning 4 in between. But Leon, I'll come to you first on this one. Arsenal versus Brighton. Arsenal coming off a loss from Aston Villa. How do you see this one?
I think it's a very interesting matchup. Both teams kind of play the same way, wants to play with the ball, looks to impose their way on the other team. So it will be a very tactical battle, as the football persons would say. I think Arsenal losing that match against Villa could have took them to the top of the table, but I think they will be looking to correct this one. They will be looking to get the 3 points here, but we know that Brighton have other things in store. Brighton will be coming. As we said, Brighton
Seem to have lost Leon there for a minute. But just adding to what Leon is saying, Kerry, both teams are ball playing teams, and this one taking place at the home of Arsenal. And I'm sure Arteta will be looking to take the game to Brighton. But Kerry, doesn't that play into Brighton's hand? Brighton is a team which scores. They have been conceding, but how do you see this one playing out?
Well, that is it. Brighton is somewhat similar to Spurs, we could say, in the sense that regardless of who they're playing or where they're playing, they are going to just go for it. Even if they're playing with 9 men, it doesn't matter who they're playing with, they're just going to go for it. And we could say, yes, that will play in Brighton's favor, but we know what Arsenal is when they're, especially at home. We know what they can do. We know the capabilities. So, of course, Arteta will know that, this is a big match, you could say, in terms of whether we finish at the end of the game week, that is, on top or we remain second. Arsenal would definitely go for it, coming off that loss at Aston Villa. We do smell blood in Brighton because we have seen the type of football Brighton has been playing recently. As you said, yes, in a nice to run. However, they are conceding. They are not really getting win results. They're drawing here and there. So definitely Arsenal smell blood. We had an off match against Aston Villa, even though that match result could have been different. So, but we definitely smell blood for Brighton. So I definitely think that Arsenal going out all guns blazing.
Yeah, definitely. It's boiling down to be a rather interesting game, I would say. Brighton do have some firepower, and oftentimes they can definitely rise to the occasion, as they did, versus Manchester United earlier in the season, playing away from home as well. And this is another game which they are away from home. So in my opinion, the pressure really is on Arsenal to get that result. But Sir Cole, I'll bring you in at this moment. Looking on, here in Kerry, here in Leon, how are you seeing this game?
A very tricky game to analyze in terms of two similar types of styles. However, based on the kind of form that Arsenal has been in throughout the season, despite the loss last time out I do anticipate that they will get the better of Brighton for this one. When you look at the matchup between attack and defense, I think the Arsenal defense will be able to handle the Brighton offense. I'm not so sure about the opposite, so I see Arsenal coming out on top in this one.
Definitely a big call there, Sir Cole. You know, Brighton has been one of those teams which impressed early in the season. You know, of lately they have somewhat cooled off, but they did get some good results early out of the block. I believe they are trending back up now, but are they good enough to upset Arsenal again? You know, having suffered defeat from Aston Villa and with the pressure mounting at the top of the table as well. But Leon, welcome back. You
In-
cut out there for a moment, but in terms of your scoreline, Leon, and how you see this one playing out, what says you?
Internet troubles, the internet went a bit, but scoreline, I do agree with Sir Cole. I think Arsenal should get the better of Brighton. I would say it's not going to be an easy match per se, but I think if you're an aspiring title challenger, these are the matches that you need to win. You're coming from a bad result last week. The pressure is on, even though it's early in the season. But these are the results where you would say you would stake a claim. Or we know that previous winners in the past, the Man City, the Liverpools, would have went there. Brighton would come and they would take the 3 points. So I think I would go with a 2-1 Arsenal. That's my prediction.
2-1 Arsenal there, Leon is saying. Carey, I mean, long-time Arsenal supporter, so to speak. I mean, Leon made mention of title challenges. Is this one of those games which Arsenal need to impress and really stake a claim for the title?
But I mean, the point where we see Liverpool and I expect Man City, even though they have poor results in the last 4 outings, we could say for Man City standards, we do expect Man City at some point to actually start grinding out the wins and getting back up there. So going forward at this point, every match right now is somewhat a match where we have to get a result. It's not a draw on the weekend will be totally unacceptable at this point because that is just where we are. Yes, it's early in the season. We fully understand that, but we know the capabilities of City and Liverpool, where from once they get ahead of you, then you can basically call it's wraps. So I honestly think Arsenal is the level of importance, and this match is kind of high at this point. And I do see the result playing out to be a high scoring match. I would say 4-2 because even if Brighton goes down 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, at no point in time Brighton is going to sit back. We know this. They're just going to come at you. And even if it turns out that Brighton does get the first goal, then the match is totally open after that. But I do see Arsenal coming up 4-2 victors.
Bold call there. Was not necessarily expecting such a massive scoreline, in all honesty, dear Kiri. Showing lots of faith in the Gunners, it seems. But Sir Cole, coming back to you on this one, what's your predicted score? I know you were leaning more towards an Arsenal victory, but will it be as big as 4-2?
Well, we're never quite sure what to expect, what the result will be. 4-2 is probably as good, I guess, as you will find in the right half. We never know before a ball is kicked. But I'm really thinking that a 2-0 Arsenal. You won't really score all your chances that you create. I do believe Arsenal will create more than Brighton. So I see Arsenal taking at least 2 of those chances. And even though this afternoon Brighton got a good result against I believe it was in the Europa League, they got a late 1-0 win. I don't see them creating enough to actually score on Arsenal. So I'm calling Arsenal to win.
Arsenal 2-0. For me, Sir Cole, I'm gonna I'm gonna somewhat be a little controversial. I feel the boat at Arsenal is rocking. They scraped a win versus Leicester only to now pick up a defeat versus Aston Villa. And I do believe the quality of De Zerbi, this is a perfect game for this Brighton team to really bounce back. So I do believe Brighton have the capabilities to hold Arsenal to a draw. So for me, I'm going to call this one a draw. And I'm thinking 1-1 should be a favorable result for this Brighton team. I just feel Arsenal will come taking the game to Brighton, and that in itself will leave them open to some potential counter attacks. And with the way Brighton plays their football, possession base, pressing high, I just feel Brighton may very well leave the Emirates with a point. So for me, I'm looking at a draw in that one. But, a positive result for Arsenal is definitely not outside the realm of possibility. And, with a win, potentially, then they would definitely apply pressure at the top of the league going forward. But we move, Kerry, we move, and we move to the big one. This one, you could say one of the biggest matches on the English Premier League calendar. Liverpool taking on Manchester United and Sir Cole. I'll start off with you on this one, being the Man U fan, representing in his jersey. How do you see this one playing out, Sir Cole?
Well, first of all, let me just say I can't really manage one of the 7-0 scoreline again. That's really for sure. We're really coming off a run of poor results. 3-0 to Bournemouth last week. A loss in the Champions League this week. So we are really on rocky times. However, I do think that in terms of big games against Liverpool is as big as they come. I believe the players will rise to the occasion. We put in a good performance, and I'm really hoping against the odds that we can pull off this upset. So I'm calling a Man U win. Out of sentiments, though, not out of you believe.
I mean, that's why we play the game, Sir Cole. The ball is round, and the mainstream media have been giving Liverpool all the plaudits and really saying this should be a walk in the park. But I am not in that line of thought. I am not really following that narrative. And, while Liverpool should win, and if they really do have any title credentials, with the form of Manchester United and with the sort of issues and problems we hear coming from over there at Old Trafford, this is one of those games you have to really take advantage of such situations and really stake your claim for a potential title push. So I'm definitely looking forward to this one. I don't believe it will follow the narrative that the mainstream media is pushing in terms of a big Liverpool win, pretty much harking on, the 7-0 of last season. But I believe Liverpool should win this one. But Kerry, I'll come to you on this one, being somewhat neutral. How do you see this game playing out, and what really is taking place over there at Manchester United?
Well, just like Mr. Cole, I think I would want to go with my heart instead of my brain, being that, being an Arsenal supporter, I want to see Liverpool lose. But, realistically speaking, I think Man U is the worst we have seen them in years. Right now, it's the worst we have seen them in years. We can't really identify a player outside of Garnacho then that we can say, okay, this player seems like he's ready to step up to the table. Then he plays, with his heart. He plays for the crest. We're not seeing that. I think the display that we have seen from even the captain, we have seen Bruno, the displays from Bruno this season. For me, he's absolutely atrocious. The body language is just totally awful, and you can see the reflection on the team. I think they're just really, really in the slums right now. I don't expect the 7-0, but for me, my thoughts, I think this is one of those gimme matches for Liverpool. And worse, it's at Anfield. We know what can happen at Anfield. I don't think United have frame of mind. I don't think they have the guts. As we said, they don't have the cojones right now to really, really play with the results. I think they're just really in the mud right now. I think Klopp and especially Salah, I think they smell blood. And I think it'll be all going to be incoming Sunday afternoon, because I really think that Liverpool seize the chance now, not just to beat Man U or to embarrass Man U, but to actually get a grip on the table. You know, where they finished last year, I think they underperformed. I think they are aware of that. And now they see actually a chance to go and win the title just a year after, finish out at the top four. So I think they're motivated. I think they're eager to get that result. So I think Liverpool should easily, to some degree, although we understand that when it comes to derby matches and all of that, form is thrown out the window in most cases. But I think this is one of those situations where there's an exception to that rule, where I think Liverpool should comfortably win this match.
Quite a bold call there from Carey right out of the blocks. But I must say, I mean, Manchester United seem to be missing some key players heading into this match, whether through suspension or through injuries. And that would just add to their woes in terms of grinding out a result at Anfield. However, sometimes these things can galvanize a team, up against various obstacles, you against the world. It can somewhat act as a catalyst, even in a one-off game, such as this derby match, all to play for pride, that rich history, that rivalry. So, as you say, big derby game. All of England will, and the world in general, will be watching this one, Sir Cole. So, while I do go in favor of Liverpool, it is not beyond the realm of possibility where a shock result could be produced. But Leon, talk to us in terms of the Manchester United approach for this one. We know they're carrying a number of suspension, a number of injuries, but break it down for us. What tactics will Ten Hag need to employ in order to grind out a victory in this one?
I mean, I think Corey had some points there about the worst football he has seen from Manchester United. I clearly think he didn't see the season with Ragnick there and Oli in last season. I think that was by far some of the worst performances I've seen. I think the difference with this season is more recency bias because we played like we performed, I guess, above expectations last season for a lot of people based on that Ragnick season. So where we're at right now, it is shocking to some people, but by far I don't think it's the worst football. It's been, I would say, Ten Hag hasn't employed a style of play as we'd want to see. But as you said, we have a lot of injuries. I think Maguire is out. I think Bruno is suspended, and even Bruno, I think he's an easy target because of his personality. Because whether Manchester United is doing well or bad, he's always whining. And I don't think the team is a representative of Bruno's, because Bruno's has been, even though there have been poor performances, he has been somewhat one of our best players this season. And for tactics, I would say based on our form and based on the traction that is going, is I think probably Ten Hag will take a slight approach because we know that this Manchester United team is very fragile, and if Liverpool say get the first goal inside 10 minutes at Anfield, we know that these players are capable of just collapsing. So I think the right approach would be taking a cautious approach, a very solid team, a very compact team, because as we know, as I saw last year, I think that's one of the main differences that Ten Hag has made this season. He wants to press teams, he wants to play on the front foot. But because the team has been open, so as you beat the first line, it's normally three, the top four person, and then there's a gap between the midfield and the defender. So whenever you watch Manchester United and you see a ball being played through the middle to the opposition player, they have a world of time to run at our defense. So I think for this Liverpool, I think Ten Hag has to play compact team. All three lines should be close together, and I think we should start cautiously at first and then play our way into game and don't let this Anfield crowd get the better of them because as we've seen, these players can collapse and they will. And if Liverpool scores within the first 10 minutes, I think these players have shown it can become real ugly, real. So that's just my summary or a little breakdown, I think, of what.
Yeah, definitely an interesting perspective there, Leon. I mean, quite a detailed breakdown in terms of the tactical approach a man of Ten Hag caliber will take for such a massive game on the footballing calendar. I mean, definitely, I mean, Ten Hag is a top-notch coach, believe it or not, coming from the Ajax brand of football, so to speak. So he will definitely have a plan, and he of course has a team of assistant coaches around him as well. So this narrative that the mainstream media is pushing, that it should be a walk in the park, you can't. I would highly recommend not to, believe this sort of narrative. This game will be closer than it is being deemed. But Sir Cole, do you agree with such an approach? And what of the Liverpool approach? How do you see Liverpool approaching this one?
Well, I completely agree with Leon. Anfield will be rocking. Many coaches fear the kind of vibe or the kind of atmosphere that Anfield can bring. Manchester United will have their hands full in terms of overcoming that hurdle. And I think if they can hold the storm for a half hour at least and keeping the game scoreless, then probably Liverpool may have to, rethink it and feel that yes, we do have a game in our hands. If you concede early, as Leon said, it can be trouble. It can be another one of those scores, because if you remember, even in 7-0, it was going close up until close to halftime, if I recall correctly. But then once the second and third went in, then it just collapsed. So I would say we need to hold it for a half hour, come out of our rhythm style, at least trying to possess the ball, control the rhythm of the game. Afterwards, we can then try and have a go at them, see if we can score before halftime. And then at halftime, we can now see, assess how it's going and see if we can change from there or maintain. But that first half hour for me will be crucial. The game is as much mental as it will be physical, and that mental hurdle in terms of not conceding for at least the first half hour, I think, will be key to this game on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, these games are normally very physical, so the refereeing decisions may also come into play. Oftentimes these are things which are overlooked by fans on both sides, but the man in the middle may yet play a crucial role in determining the outcome of this one. But Carey, how do you see this one playing out, and what's your predicted score?
Well, honestly, I hear what the Man U fans are saying. Kudos to them for having faith. Nothing is wrong.
You see, you seem not to share such similar sentiment there, Carey, You
No,
seem to be more leaning on the side of logic.
I mean, I wouldn't say just like, well, you could call it logic, but honestly, even to Leon's point where he said that we forgot that Wreck-It Ralph season, we saw Man U lose that season. Right now, we see Man U score what, 16 goals so far, and we're almost halfway in the season. So we can say going forward, Man U is much worse now than they were with under Ralph Rangnick. And Onana has conceded 40 goals so far, and we're not even mid-season as yet. Meanwhile, just
But I mean, Carey it wasn't Ten Hag ranting that Onana was one of the top keepers in the league only a couple of weeks ago.
I mean, as a coach, that's what you have to do. You have to motivate your players.
I mean, you can't use statistics on one and don't use it on the other. That's what Kerry was implying. Statistics based on Ralph Ragnick's season, and then with Onana, the statistics was shown that he was one of the better keepers in the league. But to me, it's not really about being more attacking or defensive. To my Ralph Ragnick's season was atrocious, and you seem to forget that Ralph didn't have a full season. I do agree that our attack has been bad, but that's I get that, like, when nothing is going for this coach, even with Onana, I would say anyone watching football last year wouldn't place a bad bet about signing him for 40 something million, it seems. So I don't think Ten Hag can be blamed based on his form for last season. But you do have a point for it. The attacking football has been bad, really.
right, because my point is this now, Rafa. Even when Wreck-It Ralph was there, we could see the attacking style that he was trying to implement. But with Ten Hag, what attacking approach? What attacking style have we seen from Ten Hag?
Yeah, that has been the most surprising thing for me, to be honest. I am yet to really see system of play being implemented by Ten Hag. That is the most shocking thing, you know. I thought bringing in Ten Hag, you would see some nice build-up, possession-based game, you know, building from the back, taking it off the keeper, progressing it through midfield, and then creating chances in the final third. But I'm not seeing any patterns of play. You know, it's up and down. Sometimes it's long, sometimes it's short. Limited ball handlers to take it off the defense. I'm not sure what's going on, to be honest. I mean, Sir Cole, is there any sort of explanation you can provide for us in terms of that sort of system of play, or am I blind to it?
No, really and truly, it has been very haphazard, at least to my eyes. It doesn't seem to have a clear philosophy in terms of how he definitely wants the team to play. So sometimes they play well, most times they don't. But as I said earlier, for derby games, we throw form out the window. The game we played on Sunday, each game on its merit, and what has happened over the last few weeks, we have no bearing whatsoever on what happened on Sunday. And we may very well find that Man U finds a plan that just happens to work on Sunday, and that's really what I'm hoping for at this point. That the right Man U turn on Sunday.
Well, give us your score prediction then, Sir Cole.
I'm thinking Man U 2-1.
Man U 2-1. What says you, Carey?
I'm going with a Liverpool dominant 2-0.
A dominant 2-0 from Liverpool. Leon. Leon. Leon, what says you in terms of your score prediction?
I mean, I agree with Corey. I think Manchester United, their attacking display hasn't been the most impressive. I think a 2-0 to Liverpool is fair, but I must add that up to 2 seasons before this, Arsenal attacking has been firing. Arteta was known as a more defensive coach. So style of play do take time. The bad thing about this now is that even with Arteta, you saw some style of progression. They were controlling the ball. The attacking was just not clicking. So that I would say there's a both positive and negative aspect. You know, sometimes it takes a while for your style of football to be implemented. Yeah.
Indeed, definitely. But for me, I mean, I think enough time has been given to Ten Hag. You look over there at Spurs, you can see Pochettino's style of play. You look at Brighton, you can see a deserved style of play. You know, you look at Everton, it's now a Sean Dyche team, and I mean, all those names mentioned, you know, Ten Hag has been there longer than them, but I'm yet to
So,
see that distinctive, you know,
so,
style
so,
from the
so
Manchester
Rafa,
United team.
thinking about last year, then going back last year, wouldn't you say that Manchester United had a style of play?
No.
To be honest, in patches, but it still wasn't distinctive one, Leon, a one which characterized a Manchester United team. Usually against the bigger team, it always a reversion back to a more counter-attacking type of setup where, you know, you would remain compact and then try to catch these bigger teams, so to speak, on the break. But when you face a lesser team, so to speak, where you now have to take the game to them, it was pretty haphazard. And that is really what I'm trying to get at. You still don't know what you're going to get from a Manchester United game in, game out. You know, some games you have a good one, other games not so good. You
Uh,
know, there's not much consistency is the main issue. And as I said, that identity as well, you know.
Right.
to
But
be honest, I think it's recency bias, to be honest, but
Leon,
we
Leon,
But Leon, how would you describe the Man U style of play then? I mean, if
no,
you're seeing it big,
uh, no, I would
what's
say, well, definitely this season I haven't seen it, but last season there were many instances where a style of play was developing. It's just
Mm,
that this season, whatever we saw last season, we thought there would be more momentum on that this season, and the glimpses or the patches that we played in, we would say would see it more consistent instead of controlling a game for 45 minutes. Last season, we would think probably a 60 minutes now. It's just that Ten Hag seemed to be going back way. He's not advancing, he's regressing.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that's a
that
good way to put it.
that's my and even if we see a style of play from Brighton, from from Tottenham, we forgot that probably Tottenham won't be as successful as Ten Hag last season because I think he did very well. It's just that he's not doing well this season. All of his critics are fair, and the style of play thing is very real because I haven't seen any this year, but I did see glimpses and I did see last season, but it hasn't
But
progressed this season at
yeah,
all.
So how do you see this game panning out then, Leon? Give us your scoreline.
2-0, man. 2-0 to Liverpool.
2-0 to Liverpool. I personally feel that Manchester United will score in this game. I mean, Liverpool have this tendency of even conceding first, so it wouldn't be any surprise to me to see another, goal being conceded first, but then rallying back. So for me, I'm gonna call this one 2-1. A tight game, a derby type game. I'm expecting, but I feel Liverpool should have enough belief and enough confidence, and with the home fans behind the team propelling them, I'm seeing 2-1 victory in this one for Liverpool. But Kerry, you seem to have something else to add. The floor is yours.
yeah, but I have to defend my manager. Leon made a point that when Arteta just came in, we didn't really see much of a defensive structure.
No,
But
I said attacking. He was very defensive. It was a defensive structure. It was
no,
very
no, we saw the attacking. You could have seen the attacking structure with Arteta from he came in. It was more the defensive that you could have criticized him on. And at that time, you have to think about the players we had in defense at that time. We had David Luiz, we had Rob Holding, we had Cedric, we had Hector Bellerin. Those were the players we had at that point in time. But no, got the players he wanted. You see the difference. No, Ten Hag went out, got the players he wanted. He got Martinez, he got Onana, he got Varane, he got Casemiro.
he
He
didn't
got
get Varane.
wanted, but no, what's the result?
Out of all those players, I think Martinez is injured. Varane wasn't a Ten Hag signing. Luke Shaw wasn't a Ten Hag signing. Even Wan-Bissaka, even Dalot isn't a Ten Hag signing. So Martinez is injured. Only Onana really right.
Malacia. I think he brought in Malacia.
Malacia is injured also. So I mean
So
the
you're
game is
saying, Leon, most of the Ten Hag signings, so to speak, then are injured. So as a result, the Ten Hag way of
I
playing
mean
is not possible.
I
I mean,
mean
Leon, this is a big coach. I mean, even player. But look at Ange. How many players at Spurs are signings from Ange? Maybe one, Madison and somebody
Brian
else.
Johnson.
Right. I mean,
yeah,
80% of that team is what he inherited, and we can clearly see a distinctive pattern, style, philosophy. That is the most shocking thing for me personally. I mean, I don't mind as a Liverpool fan,
I mean,
but it's just that rich club. You want to see a Manchester United competing at the cup, and for
I
me,
mean
if
yeah,
you don't need another year to figure out that this job is too big for Ten Hag. Ten Hag out. You don't need 2 years
yeah.
circle and you still can't see your characteristic style of play on the team. Might as well just call it a day. Right now, Ten Hag is wasting time. In my opinion, circle. What says you?
No, what I see is the fans trying to make fun of the club by suggesting or hinting at another sacking. I say no. I say we support the coach. That's what I say. So we work through the rough patch, the tough period, and eventually we'll get it done. Not I don't think we should sack this coach at this time. No.
I think
Such are
I
these things.
think
But
when
Leon, your
okay,
final thoughts.
I think listening to you, Rafa, I think when you say Ten Hag, oh no, you forgot that even Mikel Arteta was 8-8 and then fourth. Even I think it's too soon. I think the style of play is very valid. I'm not saying Ten Hag out, Ten Hag in. I'm
What I'm
thinking
saying
very
though, Leon, is
I'm
if you can't implement it in 18 months, then how long do you need to implement it? Is really what I'm trying to get at. I mean, are we to believe that this is the way Manchester United will be playing in another year, 2 years down the line? I mean, how much time do you need to implement your style?
You don't need.
What?
It
I
depends. It
don't know.
depends. It depends on your situation. As I said, it's very valid. I'm not 10 up in. I'm not 10 up out. But most of your arguments, it's too soon. Maybe give him until the end of the. As Mr. Cole said, a lot of brilliant coaches have been to Manchester United. Even David Moyes doing well was at Manchester United. Unai Emery that was doing well at Arsenal is doing well now. It's not what you see. It's probably deeper than that what we fans know. But we're running out of time, so we'll get this argument the next
Yeah,
time.
yes, indeed. Viewers and subscribers, a heated one. We're pretty much out of time, but there you have it. Thanks again for our pundit, so to speak, for coming on, and to you, the subscribers, for logging on and watching. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.